Yo guys, Arm&Gun here. Want to talk to you about one of what I think is probably the coolest rifle that there pretty much is that a civilian can own. And this thing it's a semi-automatic 50 BMG bullpup. It weighs under 25 pounds with a mag, bipod, brake, some accessory rails. Not a loaded mag, mind you, but 24.9 pounds is what I was getting. And it fits in a space that is under 3 feet. Under 3 feet from tip to tail. Pretty incredible. Super unique action. Well, probably not the most unique. It's a long recoil action, which is, I think, in my opinion, really cool for semi-automatic rifles. So, for example, there's no gas system on this barrel. Most semi-automatics employ a gas system, especially when they're, rifle caliber or higher. Some pistol calibers just use simple blowback, but I mean, that's of its own thing. This doesn't need a gas system. Purely runs off recoil, which is nice. It makes it simpler, it makes takedown easier. You don't have a gas system or a piston system adding weight to the system, or making the barrel, disassembly more difficult. Everything pops right out. I'm not saying this is the easiest gun to disassemble. Nothing's really hard about it. There's a couple finicky pieces, but overall, it's pretty doable. I'll have a whole video uploaded with both the assembly and the disassembly. It is a bit long, and there isn't a lot of, as far as I know, I'll be the only person who has a video on this stuff in English, anyways. So I just took my time to be pretty thorough and explain stuff. So it ended up being pretty long for the disassembly video, so I just broke it at the end of the disassembly and then did a separate one for the reassembly. And this is meant just to be my overview of the gun, to give you guys the information on it, and then we're also going to do a shooting video at some point as well. Because this is, in Canada where I am, this is a non-restricted firearm. And before everyone freaks out about that, this gun is 15 grand before tax. There's also like a 6+ month wait list to get these things in because they're made to order and they're made in small batches. The importer or the distributor for Canada is Tactical Imports, tacticalimports.ca. They order these things in batches of like 2 or 3 with the manufacturer. So you could be waiting up to a year to get one of these things. And this is not something that some guys are just going to go buy off the shelf and shoot up something with, because also you're limited to 5 rounds from the factory. You can't get overcapacity magazines for these things. That's it. So you get 5 rounds. While an accurate gun, like my buddies and I tested this out, just loosely. I don't know, I wouldn't stake my life on the fact that this is a 1-inch gun, but when we sighted it in at 100 yards, it did about a 3 round group at about 1 inch or a little better. So that's our experience. That was using the Hornady AMAX. I've heard varying results. Some people liked them, some people didn't. It could have been, this is the Gen 2. This is the G6M6. It's got a few differences in it. There was also just a GM6 before that. But, so I can't speak to everyone's accuracy. I'm sure you could load for them. A lot of guns that are, like a little more boutique like this, you could probably load and find what ammo the barrel really likes and the action likes and go from there. But I'm happy with that. We were going to shoot out to a mile. Unfortunately, the last shot was getting towards dusk, and the last shot we took, the action actually stuck back, and we believed there was one in the chamber. So it was really easy to solve. All we did is you just kind of mortared the gun a little bit on the ground. Just took it and just gave it a bit of a tap, and then it fired right back forward. Everything was good to go. I think it's just, this gun for me is really new. Right now, I've only got 33 rounds through this gun. That was the last round this gun fired. And we'd put like 20 rounds through it that day. And again, still early, so it's still breaking in. I would assume a little bit. But just that was my experience. Overall, everything else was 100% reliable. I've done 1 or 2 5-round mag dumps that just went off flawlessly. And again, you can fire this offhand, like shoulder fired, I'm sure you could get 5 rounds on a target, pretty quick succession within reasonable range. Just unbelievable weapon system. So again, my point earlier about the cost and the time is no one's going to buy this and just go and commit some crime with it. These things are such a boutique firearm, such an expensive firearm. Like they're not just accessible to anybody. Plus, 50 cal. That's a lot of round. That's a lot of bullet. Not anybody is just going to go out and pick this off the shelf that's not familiar with guns and do much with it. They're more likely to hurt themselves, honestly. But I'll be getting a bit into the weeds with all this. Anyways, not restricted in Canada. You can own it with a possession and acquisitions license, which I have. I can shoot this on private rural land, as long wherever it's legal to shoot a rifle. Basically, it's legal to shoot this. Check with your municipality, because sometimes certain diameters of bullet are disallowed. Cool. What else can I tell you? Well, the coolest feature is the fact that this thing just fires right up. So I'll do this a couple times so you can see it from different sections here, just because, well, my camera isn't far enough away. So I'll show you the barrel first. So this is just a little clasp that's locking down this barrel. If I push this in, the barrel will release. The barrel slides forward. Once the barrel hits home, it trips the bolt. The bolt comes forward. If there was a round in the mag, it would pick up that round and chamber it, and all in one motion, and then be ready to go. So pop the switch. So you heard two bangs there. First one was the barrel flying forward, and then the bolt, because they're separate units, right? So the bolt then comes up after the fact. So now so you can pull this back as one unit. You see the bolts kind of as a barrel extension or receiver extension. So that all comes as one unit. Or to disassemble it, you rotate up and then pull the bolt back. And it's gonna, because the barrel's all the way forward, it wants to so if I disengage the barrel and the bolt's back, it'll stay there. Now as soon as the barrel locks home, the bolt's gonna fly forward. See? Pretty cool. So that action is what basically how this works. So the bolt goes the whole assembly goes all the way back. Once it stops, the barrel goes forward. In that process, it strips off the round or ejects the empty casing. Once it's locked home, releases the bolt, comes in, chambers a new round. That's how it works. And it's so cool. Got a little dust cover here as well. And just the machining and the attention to detail on this gun is so cool and so well done. I really appreciate it. I know I didn't have the highest expectations when I got it. I thought it'd be more of a novelty gun. But when I finally got it, I just, again, was blown away by the quality of the craftsmanship. I know Cero operates out of a very high-tech facility in Hungary. They upgraded, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. Like brand new state-of-the-art CNC facility. So I've heard that they've been able to really tighten up their guns since then. But just so much great stuff. And that's a little plunger that releases it, this clasp. You engage. All you do is pull the barrel back and push this down. That locks in. This clasp releases it. It even comes with a built-in bipod. So the bipod, there's these little lug here. Just rotate it forward. Comes out. Do the other one as well. It gets maintained or mounted on this little swing swivel here. Then it goes down to the 90 position or 90 degree position. Sorry, rotates down 90 degrees and locks in. That's your bipod. Now the legs are adjustable. And what else? This is the pin to unlock it. It's just a little catch pin. So you just lift it out. And you're able to spin this back. And then again, just actuate these lugs to drop it back down. And you got an accessory rail here for something like a rangefinder. You could just toss on. Actually, this might go on the other side. I think there's a bit more rail space on the other side. So this would be a good spot for a rangefinder. It wouldn't take long to start getting this rifle even heavier. It is nice and light to start with, but it can get heavy quick. So you mount a rangefinder on there, And honestly, for me, for fun at the range, fun in my backyard, I would just put a little aim point micro on it in my KDG side lock mount. Try to find where it's not going on here. There we go. That'd be pretty sweet right there. Simple little red dot, and you can shoot this from the shoulder. Again, about 24.9 pounds, and well, we'll lock this barrel back here once more, just for showing camera. That locks it, and there you go. Such a cool little package. I again, pretty blown away by how cool this thing is and that it's available. Not that it shouldn't be, it's really cool. I guess really quickly here I can show you how it came. It came in a big old Pelican Case, 1750, with custom cut foam. We've got a little instruction manual up here. Let's leave that in there. It's kind of ESL, the way that was translated. Might help you for some of the troubleshooting stuff in the gun, maybe, but disassembly wise, it's kind of tricky. Honestly, it's kind of tricky, and I've just kind of struggled through it on my own. There aren't a lot of pictures, it's mostly verbal. And again, looked like it was almost like you plunked the language into Google Translate and they spit out the English version. So some of it all doesn't translate really well. So definitely check out my disassembly video if you want a more insightful or just easy to follow takedown process and reassembly process, especially the bolt. There's definitely some tricks with the bolt. But you get a second recoil spring. Sorry, this is the barrel spring, barrel return spring. You don't want to, they recommend against leaving the gun stored with the barrel, with the barrel all tucked up inside of it for long periods of time, just because they say it puts strain on this spring, and the spring is at least somewhat critical to the function of the gun. They send you 2 rings. These are 34 mil. They're right from the factory, as far as I know. They're probably not right from the factory. They come with the gun. I'm not sure if they're a make other than Sero or not. You get a nice brass cleaning rod. Fits in here once it's taken apart. You get a spare mag. These mags are behemoths. Really nice though. Really, like, honestly, excellent quality. Pretty impressed with that. Only a single stack though, so you only get 5 rounds. And then the gun. The case is custom cut for the gun with scope and potentially with the carry handle. Like I've seen Lynxes have this really boisterous carry handle on them, or optics protection rig. But I didn't get it. It wasn't an option with my gun. I guess I could get one in the future just to complete the package, but I didn't find it that aesthetically pleasing. So, and it's not necessary for myself. But lastly, this is a monopod that just threads into the bottom of the grip. I'll grab the gun here again quickly and show you that. Away. And again, just quite the beast. Safety is a crosswalk safety. You see white for safe, red for fire, and the trigger does leave a little to be desired on this thing. I'll pop his head one more time. Just let one go with the trigger here just so we can see. So the trigger is tucked back in here. That's the hammer. Sorry, the trigger's up here. The hammer's back here. So we'll just go. It's kind of mushy. You can take up some of the pressure. You can take it up. You go really slowly. As you take up, and then it's mush for a while. And then mush stays out once you've pushed it away. So there we go. Again, it's just more. And then it goes. It's not a heavy trigger, and this is super awkward the way I'm holding it. But just there's a lot of mush. So you gotta get through all that mush so you can find a clean break. This hammer swings up and comes across and contacts the firing pin. There you go. She goes bang, and then the whole thing happens over again. So that's it for this video. I will do a first-person shooter style one if I can manage. I should be able to do that fine. I'll do that outside. take a few rounds out of it as well. Should be a great time. Thanks, guys. See you next time.